We're going to hop right in to game number 2. We're here on Babylon. Spawning in the lower right-hand corner is the blue Zerg player for Dragon Kitesy Gaming, Dark. His opponent in the upper left-hand corner in the red, representing Twisted Minds. It's Classic. Classic being annoying, blocking the hatchery. Dark going to be forced to take the third base. Dark does sometimes fight for this. Dark has some builds where he really likes to have his natural. But he doesn't always go for the early enough hatch to get it every time. I don't know what happened in game 1. It wasn't a super long game, but it wasn't a quick one either. I think it lasted about 10-12 minutes. Something of that nature. I know Dark has some very cheeky builds he can bust out. Classic. No slouch at the aggressive builds either. I think these guys played in a finals not too long ago against each other. Dark ended up taking that one. Classic has taken those matches in the past, though. Certainly possible to see the slight reverse sweep here. Beyond waiting in the grand finals is going to be a tough match for either of these players. I feel like Classic has looked very good lately, though. I feel like it'd be fun to see him against Beyond. But then Beyond Dark. How could I root for anything other than Beyond Dark? It's just so hard. It's such a good match. Classic going for the good old Stargate. Who was it that that we saw bust out some really crazy Stargate strats recently? And it was just like straight to carrier. Man, I wish I had a better memory for these things. Straight to carrier against Zerg. I'd love to see it. Link's trying to get some damage done. Not gonna happen. Seems like it's just Oracle for the time being. Dark supply blocked. How did Dark get supply blocked? Did he lose an Overlord? No? I guess he must have like extractor tricked or something? Canceled some spore crawlers? It's funny, I feel like you usually don't see it that late. Oh, that's quite a few lings here. Be able to stop this probe from putting down the Nexus. That Nexus would not have stayed up anyways. I don't know why Classic was trying to get it. It's actually really good for him. I feel like that didn't go up because he would have just had to cancel it immediately. The Oracle out now, though, will stop these links from being able to kill the probe. That will allow the base to go down. Yeah, the Oracle joins up as well. Two Oracles, always a bit of a threat, even with Spores, even with Queens. You got to be a little bit careful. Oh, the 3 Queens, though, gonna put on a lot of damage to these guys. No Spore Crawler, but the Oracles just have to run away anyways. And in fact, this low one here, definitely in danger of going down. The other one's gonna just dive forward, grab a kill, and then dip on out of there. Only the one drone kill, though. Dark not really taking any damage. Like a few lings trying to poke in is at the same time on the other side of the map here. We're getting into the juicy stuff. The Oracle action, always a little bit of a slower phase of the game, unless somebody gets a lot of damage done, but it's usually pretty rare. This game, nothing too big happening. But Blink and +1 are on the way. +1 melee is coming out here for Dark. Gonna get into the Bait Nest and the Lair. Would love to see Dark go for Mutas. I feel like Mutas have been on the menu a little bit more lately. They've given us some really fun games in the last few weeks. Just love seeing Mutas, especially against Protoss. But I guess with a Blink opener and a Stargate, you don't really want to go into Mutas. It can be a tough thing to get into. Dark instead, probably just going to play it safe. As I say play it safe, though, he drops out an Infestation Pit at 6 minutes. I think this is actually just for a hive. Dark goes for quicker hives than just about anybody else I ever see. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if I'd hate Swarm Host. Oh no, the door! Classic! Bit of a misplace on that Adept, and a few probes going to go down. A couple of Zealots warping in the main base, but still going to be a loss of a couple of probes here. Hey, you know what? It's a good cleanup from Classic. Oh, but the Stalkers dove into the main to clean that up, and suddenly the third base is under assault. The Oracle comes over to try to help, but this is a lot of probe damage happening right now. 10, 11, 13, all the probes in the third base getting hit. They finally push away those Lings, but 13 probes going down. Dark finding some good damage. That being said, he's only a few workers ahead. Dark needs to get some more drones out. He's working on it right now. But Classic, losing a lot of workers, still maintaining a decent amount of workers behind this. Just keeping that worker production going. And Dark put a lot of money into Lings that could have been workers. So they did the necessary trades, but not much more than that. Ling's still looking for a way, and Classic a little more buttoned up this time with the double Zealot wall. And now getting into double Colossi. Not something you see super often, but there's that hive for Dark. It's almost done, and here's a really nice thing for Dark from that hive that he can make are just Vipers. Even discounting any of the tech that he could go for, Vipers are super useful against Colossi. They just make them so much weaker. Colossi are like, oh, I'm going to stand in the back and just hang out. Vipers are like, nah, dude. You should stand in the front. I think you'll do great on the front lines. Why don't you give the front lines a shot? That's what the Vipers say to the Colossi. And yeah, Dark starts up 2 immediately. He's also going to start up Adrenal, and that's going to make his army very, very powerful. Just a ton of damage output from these Lings. The Vipers to pull those anti-Ling units right up front. Stalkers do not deal with Lings particularly well. They can do okay, but a ton of Speedlings with +2 melee and Adrenal, it's going to be a tough thing to contend with. Especially if those Colossi just get yoinked forward and picked off one at a time. I love this for Dark. He's just cleaning up these rocks. Rocks are generally the enemy of the Zerg, and specifically the enemy of the mobile composition like this. Dark wants more ways to get into his opponent's bases. He wants more ways to surround his opponent, killing these rocks. I think it's a really great choice here for Dark. Some roaches on the way as well, and I feel like these roaches are going to just turn into Ravagers. Oh, the army is out here. Yeah, but without those Vipers, these Lings have no chance against the Colossi. This army of Classic is actually looking pretty sick right now. The Vipers are around somewhere. I heard them. There they are. They're hanging out. Those are the most insect-like units. They sound... Oh, God. That's I kind of hate that sound, actually. The sound design is so good, but I just hate it. The tag on the Vipers is really, really nice here for Classic, because that means those Stalkers can try to take advantage of them being a little bit out of position, and there he goes. He grabs one. We haven't seen any yoinks yet. The Stalker's getting caught, though. The other Viper gets sniped as well. Only one yoink going down here, and that means all of those Lings are just getting cleaned up. The overcharged shield battery saving all 4 of those Colossi. The Oracle's up above even helping out, and Dark just put a ton of money into that. And he lost so much stuff. Damn, the trade's twice as good for Classic. And Dark, yeah, he has been mining more, but not necessarily this whole game. Classic's mining has been okay. To take a 2-for-1 trade, I think Classic's very happy with that. He's going to pull back. He's going to heal up these units, break some rocks. Rocks are the enemy of the Zerg. He's like, all right, let's break some of those bad boys. Baneling's going to try to bust in. They don't have speed yet, so they're just going to waddle their way forward. They will be able to bust through all of this. But there's none left for the probes. So 3 probes go down, just the ones on the gas. He's just going to re-wall with the gateway. Well, Morlings and Banes threatening to dive in here, but Dark, he got into very quick tech. He got into those, to the Hive. He got into the Vipers. He hasn't really used this for much else so far. And he's just kind of stuck on Ling, Bane, Roach, Ravager right now. It's not really the best comp out of Dark. Again, the Banelings smashed through the wall, but Classic is just going to rebuild the wall. There wasn't any Banes left for probes again. The worker count's very similar for both of these players. Classic, now getting into some Archons. Does he have Storm? He does have Storm. So he's High Templar, able to lay down the law. Shield Battery, Cannon, and a Stalker are going to do great here, but Classic a little bit out of position. His 4th base in some trouble. Ooh, some burrowed Banes over in the mineral line. Does Classic realize it, is the question. His probes are not going back yet. I think he might realize. He might have spotted the burrow. 3 probes going down anyways. Dark changing his angle of attack. Heading over here. 11 probes going down this time. Finally, Dark getting some decent worker damage to Classic. And he is going to dive in here with his Roaches and Raptors, with those Lings, and actually put some concerted pressure onto this 3rd base. But at the same time, Ling's diving into this base. A bunch of Banes coming over as well. They're going to try to move up into the natural. There's 2 Immortals in the wall, though, so I think that'll be fine. But the Adrenal Lings with +3 melee just tear everything to shreds. And Classic, he was holding so well, suddenly loses 28 workers. And he's like, all right, you're going to have to remake a bunch of Lings. I'm just going to go. Chitinous is on the way, but we don't have any Ultras out yet for Dark. So he's just going to counterattack with his Roaches at the 3rd, his Lings over at the 4th. More probes going down. And Classic, he's got to pull back and defend this. He's forced to come back, and that gives Dark so much time. He's getting more units out. He's taking better trades here, just cleaning up even more probes. Oh, Ling's got into the main, trying to do some damage here. A little bit of a burrow on the ramp. The Roaches get pushed away. Classic down to 150 supply. The army supplies, though, very similar at the moment. Finally, some Ultras coming out. But there are, actually, I don't really like Ultras here at all. There's 10 Immortals on the field. Oh, but Classic's base is just going to get torn to shreds in the meantime. The main is being held, but the 3rd base is definitely not going to be. The natural is gone. Classic is all in on the other side of the map. Oh, but he's cleaning up. He's going for a fringe base. Oh, I think you just have to go. I think you got to go straight into the natural in the main here if you're going to do this. Dark, he's just got too much on the other side of the map. Even if Classic kills a lot of stuff here, I feel like Dark just pulls home now. He's going to keep this pressure on, but he's knocked Classic down to 1 base. He just wants to push through. The Archon's in such a juicy spot, though. This feels like Dark throwing away a lot of army. Classic's army is still a ton to contend with. We have Lings and Ultras spilling into this army, trying to fight it on their own. Oh no, Dark, has he made a mistake? Classic's gonna recall a handful of units to just try to clean this up, and he will clean this up. Dark down to 60 army supply. I think Dark threw this completely. I think if he pulls back from Classic on 1 base and pulls all his forces together, he could have killed this earlier. But Ultras and Lings against this army just aren't going to cut it. There's even some Storms left in case the Lings try to get a big surround. Classic's army, I think it's just too strong. He did leave his main completely exposed, grouping the other group of units together. Dark's going to go for a counterattack. Now the problem here for Classic is Dark has so many bases. So this might have been close to a throw for Dark, but it isn't over yet. He is losing all of his tech. He's going to have to remake a spawning pool even. But he saves this Ultra. He saves a handful of Lings in the main. That's a really nice move. If Classic had realized those were there, he could have stormed. And I don't think he recognized that. He doesn't have a lot of detection left. He does have 2 Oracles. Looks like they're with the main they're with the defense army rather than the attack army. Dark still has 61 workers. He is still mining quite heavily. Classic, I think he's being a little bit too timid with this because the longer he gives Dark, the better. Oh my god, there's 5 infestors on the way. Neural Parasite, excuse me. Neural Parasite is being researched. I don't know why that was so hard for me to come up with the word. Classic kills another base. Dark, though, I mean, he's mining a lot of minerals right now. And the spawning pool is done again. You don't lose those upgrades. So +3 attack adrenal gland lings are coming out right now. And yeah, Colossi and Archons can be good against that, but eventually Classic, he's not going to be able to compete with this army of Dark. He still has a lot of stuff back at home, though, and he is mining a little bit. He's got 100 army supply. This is insane. He's going to go for the recall. Okay, gets everything but 1 Stalker out of there. This poor Stalker. I guess it could go, like, kill some stuff down here. Maybe. Classic joins his whole army together. Is he going to build any defense back at home? He doesn't have a ton of money, but, like, I wouldn't hate to see a full wall with the ramp, cannon and shield battery or something just to stop Lings from easily breaking through, although with Adrenal, I guess it probably wouldn't do too well. Classic's going to go for the push. He just used his recall. He does not have it available. Oh, man. Okay, he pulls back. Sending a few units out. Neural time. Storms the army. Just trying to grab little units here and there. Gets a Colossus. There is a tag available, and he will kill that Infestor. Gets his Colossus back. The Lings, though, they're going to dive right on forward. The Bane Nest is done. Banelings are being morphed for Dark. He doesn't have any gas. I don't think he's been mining gas at all, but he's forcing Classic to pull that army back once again. Oh, my God. Look at this stuff die. Oh, this is actually insane. Dark is going to kill all the buildings. I actually think if Dark focus fires the buildings, he gets every single one. Classic, he doesn't have much left. It's the assimilator in the forge. Dark is clicking the button, and that is the game as Dark cleans up every building of Classic's. Classic's army was bigger and better for the majority of that end game, and Dark could not fight it. He absolutely could not fight it straight up, so he didn't. He chose not to. He chose the path of the counterattack, and Dark takes that game, takes the series 2-0 to defeat Classic.